Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Dark Killer here. So, last time I had blown a hole in this asteroid. That was the little mining underground mines. I also showed you guys quickly last time how to set up a detector. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about weapon basics. So, let's grab a battery. Uh, let's grab a little cargo. And let's start off with our turrets. We're going to put the 3 turrets on, and we'll talk a little bit about what works and what doesn't work with them. So, battery for power, and let's put another one, and I'm going to put a cargo this side, and I'm going to put a cargo this side. Now again, as I've mentioned before, as you can see, this turret has a collision box that's 3 by 3 by 3. Which in effect mean that if there's a block here, you can't sneak in the turret into the corner because as you can see that red outline, the turret is overlapping the battery, so it won't place. Very important if you are planning armor. Let's use some light armor. So if for example you have armor coming out and you want to protect your turret a little bit from incoming fire, you will unfortunately have to give it a little bit of space. You can't have your protection right up to the turret itself. So as you can see again, we can't place closer than that block for the turret. So we can place, for example, a few blocks like this. So as you can see, we still have a little bit of protection for the turret. The reason you might want to put up a little bit more armor in this way is, as you can see, the turret can still see fire over this rim, but it will protect its base a little bit more from incoming fire. Let's finish this little armor bracket quickly. 1, 2, 3, and let's throw in the last one. I don't think this is the last one. There's the last one. So there's a little cup for it to be protected inside. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you are doing more than one, say for example you want to have a few next to each other, you're gonna have to maybe do another line of armor or physically have this spot open, but then what you can do is not there, but we can have this gap open to place the next turret. So then these two can be next to each other, close to each other. Well, that's, or let me rather say that is as close as you could possibly put them to each other, next to each other. Sorry, just making it pretty. Then I actually can run on that line. Other thing to keep in mind is, as you can see now, that this cargo, let me put up one. No, sorry. So as you can see, this turret itself has got a cargo access on the bottom. So ammunition can feed into it physically from the bottom of your cargo system, conveyor system. But also you can physically load ammo from this cargo access. And a lot of times what I also do with it is I draw material when I'm building. I also use the cargo access on the turrets as a convenient close by method to get material out. But the important thing to keep in consideration or to think about is that it has to be piped. Your cargo, your ammo has to travel through it. But at the same time, these kind of things are kind of a little bit of a weakness in the system in that if they get damaged, ammo won't be being transferred to your turret anymore. Another thing you can notice, this one is disconnected from the system, which means this one is not receiving ammo. I would have to load it manually from its cargo hatch because, so for example, I don't have that ammo readily available, but let's do this quickly. So if I'm in this cargo and I want to draw cargo to this Gatling turret, you can see it's blacked out. This cargo does not have an access below it, but it does have another ammo cargo hatch below it. So no. So again, if I'm looking from below, you can see there is that cargo access. So one thing that you can do is load ammo, a lot of ammo into the turret itself and that cargo, and it will draw from there. So it won't be cut off if this line is cut off. But again, you could possibly run out of ammo in those two specific cargo ports. So those are our Gatling turrets. I am also going to place a missile turret over here. And let's talk about it. Gatling turrets, you have the following options. You can, let's actually put a seat. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. So, control panel turret. You have toggle block on and off, show on terminal, show it in the inventory screen. So when you go to inventory, show block on the toolbar config, that's the G menu. You can make the name relevant to maybe to the left, to the right, the front or the back if you want to look them up quickly. You can set it, this is just shoot once, shoot on. Basically from this control panel you are telling it to shoot the whole time. You can control it from here, manual control, so you can see the back turret and those turrets, and blew up our mine. So you can zoom in, zoom out. It's a good way to scout, to see what is around you, because you have a little bit of a range zooming ability. Now if we look at our turret again, control range. Now this is a tricky one. Personally, depending on the terrain I'm working from, I would decrease it a little bit, especially if I am in a position where it doesn't have to, the person that's coming towards me would not have the full 800 meters range. But if you're on the open, you would want the 800 meters range to be able to fire at that person at the same range that person is able to shoot at you. The downside is at this 800 meters, the turret loses a lot of accuracy. A person jetpacking can literally fly circles around your turret and have it empty its ammo. So you lose uh, accuracy. But maybe if you have two turrets next to each other, uh, you could make a little bit of a surprise, have this one at the shorter range, because the closer it shoots, the better the range is, the more accurate it is. But you do have that opposite problem of the turret won't adjust itself to shoot at something that could be out of range. So somebody could park 400 meters from this turret and just snipe it, shoot the bejesus out of it, and this turret won't be able to shoot back off at it. Idle movement, if I switch off idle movement on these turrets, sorry, you can see the turrets is not moving anymore. But if I switch on idle movement, it looks pretty and everything. So you can see it's moving around. Now, two reasons why I always switch it off. One, the idle movement does affect the calculations on your server, on your own game. So it does create a little bit more load on the PCU, on the computer as it's running. Secondly, if I've built a nice setup, I don't always want to advertise these turrets are moving and where they are moving from. So if I can just have them stand still, it's not always obvious if they are working, not working, damaged or not damaged, and the movement does give them away to a large extent. So next thing we can look at is on the turret itself. What do we shoot at? Again, it depends on server, computer. Do you have meteors on and off? If you have meteors active on your game, meteors are always going to be coming from the sun. So position your turrets in a way that they'll be shooting at the meteors. Also decrease range if you've got one gun specifically killing meteors. Because again, meteors coming way off to the left, way off to the right is also going to be eating up your ammo. Turret again. Target missiles, again, it depends on what you are doing. Usually I do switch it over to target missiles because missiles, of course, as a anti-ship weapon does relatively amount of damage. So it would be good to actually counter them, kill them before they reach you. But you can have maybe one on go for the missiles and one will keep on shooting at the enemy ship. And maybe we can say, for example, this one don't shoot at the missiles, but we can have, let's say, the shorter distance one actually shoots at the missiles when it's close by, and this one will keep on shooting at the enemy ship. Of course, target small ships, large ships, target large ships, shoot at enemy characters, target stations if you are in the range of a station, target neutrals, people that you have made peace with, but they come in range of your ships. Do you want them to stay out of certain areas, or do you want to trade and have them move around your base? So, simple enough. Do you use the conveyor system to pull in ammo? Missile turrets is pretty much the same setup. Range, you can control it. And missile turret, you can control it, set the range, idle movement on and off. Missiles, I would not have shooting at missiles. Missiles accuracy is not that spectacular in regards to shooting at other moving targets. Small ships, large ships, also the same with characters. They rather have a turret shoot at a character than have your missiles trying to ping somebody. They will eat up all your ammo very quickly. Shoot at stations, use conveyor systems, as said before. Let me just draw this ammo. And of course, then there's the interior turrets. Now, basic small difference between interior turrets, firstly, is interior turrets are smaller bullets. So the large grid heavy turrets can do a lot more damage than this little interior turret. But the interior turret does not use any conveyor systems. As you saw, the little drawer handle is where you put in ammo, pull out ammo. Its little control panel. But they are smaller. You do have this advantage that its grid is only 1 by 1. Its block size, collision block size. So you can put it in little hidey places around corners. Try to get it into a position where it will kill somebody that's uninvitedly wandering into your base. Uh, Basics of the interior turret is the same, that you have a range that you can set, that you can control this turret, that you can also tell it what to shoot and what not to shoot at. What I would also use the interior turrets around is anti-missile systems. So you could possibly have this one, these two, ignore missiles, but have your interior turrets go for missiles and ships and characters. Gatling turret ammo is a little bit cheaper than the Gatling turret ammo. Missile turret ammo is very expensive. You have to use uranium also in it, and that really pushes up the production cost on it. So that is the basics on the system that is available. But what you could also possibly do is build your own system. I'm quickly going to go through two possibilities that you can use on a ship design. So let's switch over to actually I'm going to do it on this one quickly. Where's that ship? Alright, so I'm going to switch this one out to advanced rotor because I do want the ammo to feed through it. The other thing is I'm going to take this head off and I'm going to switch this over to a small head. Advanced rotor, I want you to add a small head. Now rotors are good. You can also use hinges. Let me actually show the hinge one also. G hinge. Your basic options are using the advanced rotor or using a hinge. Same again, put on the hinge, take out that part, tell the system that hinge, small head. And again, now we have a small head. The basic differences between a hinge and hinge, I feel personally, is a little bit more stable. Then the next thing you need is a block which basically converts large axis to small axis. So we'll put this one there. Come on, computer. Sorry, small hiccup on the system. So line it up nicely so systems will transfer ammunition between them. We want the small conveyor blocks, and while we are here, Gatling, we'll take the small grid Gatling. Now as you can see, I will have a problem. The Gatling's port access is on the side. It doesn't have one on the back. So I can't put it straight down onto that block. It won't feed ammo. So I'm going to use these blocks for feeding. And then I'm going to put the Gatling, making sure that the feed ports are able to pull ammo from the sides. Now, it might be that you're creating this in creative. Turrets will shoot in creative mode, irrespective if it's actually able to draw ammo or not. So now we went from a small volume of space, we got a high number of Gatlings. We've got 12 Gatlings here. Now if I go to my ship, empty spot, it's an empty spot, block weapons, dump in our gun. Now on some servers they don't like this type of gun, simply because it again has a high impact on the server processor. But it is a very nice way to do a compact weapon system on a large grip ship. The other thing that you can also do is play around a little bit with your rocket launchers. Now again, you have to make sure that your ports are correct on this system. So as you can see, we don't have small port access on this rocket system. So what I'm going to need is again to convert in a basic direction that I wanted to be able to shoot at. So let's throw this one in. Just want to make sure my ports line up, because I want the orientation to cut it from the middle. That might not be... Sorry for the delay. You just really have to make sure that your ports are lined up or you're not feeding ammo. And let's put down the small grid rocket launcher. As you can see from the rocket launcher, there is ports showing a direction. So let's just show you. Oops, don't want you there. So as you can see, there's an in and an outie. The out is the back, the hole is the forward shooting. So again, if I go to my cockpit, we go to block weapons. Now we will have the rocket launcher change to 2. And we can shoot rockets, back to guns, shoot rockets. But again, it just depends on the weapon system that you're designing. So this conversion system is a way that you can add small grid rocket weapons to a large grid ship. You also saw there is the rocket launchers. Rocket launchers. Also we have, one second, just want to get this away a little bit. Now if you see there on the back is one access port, and on the side there is going to be one other one. So depending on again how you build your ship, that for example this is your port access and you wanted to have that port access used, you want that port access used, so you're just going to have to make sure that you do flip it around, that the right one is connected, and this one you can do right to the back. And now you can see we have 3 rocket launchers in a row. You just have to make sure that the connectors are right. And now the thing that you might notice is I am running it separately, that it won't shoot all the weapons, is what I mean. So shooting the rocket launchers, shooting the Gatling, shooting the small grid, and now as you can see, the small grid rocket launcher that I have here is small and compact, but you might notice there is actually no access port for feeding on this one. Basically, what that means is this is a system where you as a pilot have to manually feed ammo, load ammo before every flight. You can't carry extra ammo on it. And if we look on our control, so basically what I'm saying is those ones won't be feeding from an ammo system. The small grid rocket launchers, you would actually have to go in and load ammo from the front, by the way. If I look at the back from this one, you see there's no access, but if I go to the front, I can load ammo, load rockets from the front. Okay, so those are the basics on adding a rotor system based weapons, rocket launchers, turrets. The next thing I do want to show is, again, I'm going to switch over to our rotor. G rotor. I want advanced rotor. Gonna do the same thing where I take off the head, go to control, advanced rotor, and at the small head we're doing a conversion, small grid again. I am going to do slightly a different thing here, because at this point you might be expecting me to put this H2 gen again so that I can convert from large port to small port. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add this one, and you can, let me show you the two styles. Let me put a cockpit down. I'll need a gyro. I am also going to place a remote. I am going to need the small. Alright, so what I have now is advanced rotor converted to small grid hinge. I am going to place my cockpit, and then from the cockpit I'm going to do one, maybe two gyros, and then from the front I'm just going to make a face of guns. Again, it's up to you how you want to armor this, how many guns you want to add. Usually also I do put the cameras in this gap between the guns. It's centered, so also you know where you're shooting. If you are using, let's do it, G camera, and again a couple of guns from the side. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Now, if I get in a cockpit here, actually, I'm moving my whole ship. G iron, not ship, base. Did not convert it to a base. So let's just give it a little bit of directional thrust, that I'm not throwing it around everywhere. And we can do one up, one down. Now back to this thing. Now you can see I'm moving the ship, but it's not what I want to move. So let's go K menu. Actually, this thing as a ship also needs one of these. Okay, so cockpit again. Now, as you can see, if I'm moving the whole ship. This is not what I want to do. Let's go our advanced rotor. Don't want to switch it off. I don't want complete lack of braking power. And hinge. Again, I don't want a complete lack of power, so we're not going to switch it off, so there's absolutely no movement. But now, as you can see, it's moving. G gyro. One second. Gyroscopes. 1 gun. 2 gun. So also you might say, I'll get to it in a second. Sorry, I'm just distracting myself for a second here. I want power on off. I want power on and off. And we can do block weapons. And G camera. So as you can see, it's a little bit frisky. Now, first thing I can do is I can switch off this one, and the movement is a little bit better. Just be careful. You can blow yourself up. As you can see, I am literally aiming at myself here. So just be careful of that. And of course, you can zoom and shoot. So this is one way to quickly do a turret. Same as the other one, I can put the rockets on it. I can put small grid fed rocket tubes on it. But it's still a little bit frisky. So to fine tune, let me go to advanced rotor again. Let's go 15,000 and sorry, the hinge. Let's also make the hinge 15,000. Now, one thing to keep in mind is actually that you do want it to be resistant. If it's a stationary turret, stationary base like this, that is fine. To stationary, it's a little bit too frisky again. As you can see, it's a little bit hard to aim. So again, fine tune. Let's go. Advanced rotor. But the reason I was saying is don't go too low. You actually do want it to be a little bit resistant to too fast movement on the mouse. Another thing to take in consideration is if you build this onto a ship and the ship moves, your turret actually, let's do that. Your turret is going to be staying put where it is. Where is my little turret? Turret. Alright. So if the ship moves, you can see this is going to be happening. So you do want some resistance into it. But also, what I do on most of my builds is rotor lock and hinge lock on and off, so that when I am maneuvering my ship and nobody is in the cockpit, that I am able to switch that off. So let's just stop moving 8 and 9. Now if I'm moving, you can see at least my small grid turret is not running around. Another thing that I could do from here is remote. I did not put a remote. Remote. Not the best spot, but let's do it this way. Thing to keep in mind with remote, again, if you change over to this remote, that is now the center of the cockpit. Where the cockpit was the center of your grid, that's now the center of your grid. So let's go back to our seat. G, remote, and let's say control. Now I'm in control of this remote on the back. But the things I do want to put in again is rotor lock on and off, and this rotor lock on and off. You want to view your camera, and block weapons you do want to be able to shoot. Now the thing to notice as any remote control is, even though I'm looking from my seat, I am in control of the block on the right hand side. So it's not like a third person view. The best way to control it then is to literally view it through the camera. It's a lot of stuff down there. And then of course 8-9 to lock it or delock it. So you can have a person in the control seat viewing. But as you can see, let me just go back to camera 8 and 9. You could be fighting somebody and you can be tracking that ship and kind of miss and forget that there is a ship. You are on a ship and you can blow yourself up. Small grid turrets like this is not going to stop shooting because your own ship is in the way. You're going to kill yourself maybe. So those are small grid turrets, small grid conversion for shredders, maximum guns shooting at the smallest possible range. We had turrets again over there, Gatling turrets and missile turrets and small grid interior turrets, and of course the rocket pods for large grid and rocket pods for small grid. The railguns themselves I have discussed quickly in another video. So I refer to the gravity modules, grav generators, and mass blocks video to have a quick look at gravity guns slash railguns. If there's any specific weapon system you think you want advice on or you want me to go through, feel free to ask. So ladies and gentlemen, on that note, thank you very much for your time. Hope you have a wonderful day. And any comments, feel free to put it down in the comment box down below. Thank you very much. Enjoy.